Jiahao Sun, founder and CEO, Flock.io. Please come to the stage. Oscar Hayek, co-founder and CTO of Innerworks. Welcome to Proof of Talk, Day 2. Alireza Ghods, co-founder and CEO of NATIX. Welcome to the stage. I love this audience. Just keep it going, keep it going. And last but not least, we have our moderator, Anna Bertha, investment lead of DCG. Please give her a warm welcome as well. Enjoy.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Anna. I'm investment lead at DCG, focusing on crypto and DAI. DCG has been very excited about the DAI space over the last years. So we have deployed over 105 million into DAI and traditional AI. We believe that DAI is going to be the next big chapter of open innovation, and the way Bitcoin unlocks trustless finance, Bittensor has the potential to unlock trustless intelligence, particularly Bittensor, yes. So we are here today with 3 of our portfolio founders, and we are trying to apply the same approach that we applied for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin ecosystem. So we are trying to partner up with these founders very early, unlock real-world use cases, and have them scale. Very excited to have these guys here because we have these synergies between our portfolio and Yuma, and Flock and NATIX did launch Subnets with our Yuma accelerator, which is very exciting. And Innerworks has a pure Web2 business and launched a Subnet. So I'm going to just do a one-liner intro of each of you guys, and then we can jump into it. So next to me is Alireza. Ali is the founder of NATIX. NATIX is building the largest camera network, leveraging smartphone and Tesla cameras to collect real-time physical data. Then we have Oscar from Innerworks. Innerworks is a cybersecurity company specializing on high-quality bot detection, leveraging behavioral biometrics. And we have Jiahao here, and Jiahao is the founder of Flock. Flock is leveraging federated learning and blockchain to enable model training, fine-tuning, and model deployment. So let's jump into it. And as we all know, with Tensor so far, most of the usage and development has been purely within the network, but now we see these companies coming and launching subnets, whether it's an enterprise solution, a DP network, or data infrastructure. So guys, what made you, besides us shilling to you with Tensor, what made you guys decide to launch a subnet, and how does that benefit your real-world business?
I guess from our side, it really started with how we're approaching research and development. So we have a pretty aggressive approach. So we're really looking to try and break every single detection system we can. So that was our own, that's competitors, and kind of learn from those attacks. And I suppose BitTensor came into the fold because we wanted to expand the diversity of these attacks to kind of mimic what would be seen on an open market or on a real website, for example. So tapping into this hive mind of miners to start generating constant attacks, being rewarded not only on how effective they are, but how unique their attack is, was really the kind of approach for us to stay ahead of the market.
Yeah, for us, well, similarly, we treat BitTensor as a great decentralized AI research platform, while Flock, our main protocol, is running on the model training process and on the deployment with our business clients or retail applications. So we see it as a very smooth pipeline where, for example, the data can be optimized in a research way on the BitTensor subnet, and then pipeline to our main training platform for the on-edge models, which can then be deployed to retail customers on their on-edge applications, like several I will mention later. So yeah, that makes us think, okay, that can be a good synergy, from research to application, from research to the model training to the application, which I think, yeah, will be a great synergy.
So for us, we're a deep-end project. We our main job is data curation. We collect street-level visual data for map making, for autonomous driving. And of course, one of the things that one of the ways that we can make money is to sell the raw data. We're already doing that to map makers, to autonomous driving companies. But what would multifold the value of our data is if we can extract insight, if we can train models based on that. And it's quite cumbersome, expensive thing to do if you're relying on AWS. So we were always like looking into how we can productize our data, how we can extract value from our data and sell that value, right? You can sell watermelon, sliced watermelon, or watermelon juice. I think that's the 101 entrepreneur book. But you know, at the end of the spectrum, you can sell it for far higher profit. And for us, BitTensor made a lot of sense because, you know, it's a good analogy. I saw somewhere that, you know, as a human being, your eyes are observing, but your brain is doing the analysis of what you're observing. So, you know, our data curation network is the eyes on the street, and BitTensor is serving as the brain, which is analyzing, which is creating intelligence, which is creating insight. So yeah, it's amazing what we can tap into in terms of compute. I think Bitcoin is the largest computer network in the world, and BitTensor is hopefully soon the largest computer network for useful work, right? And that's what really appealed to us to do this value extraction from our data.
And following up on this, my next question is related to NATIX and Flock, because you guys have already tokens live. How did that change, like how you are seeing about the main token and the alpha token?
So for us, it was quite interesting because we have been working on the subnet for a few months, and then when we were ready, they just announced that okay, subnets will have their own alpha token. So we had to take a step back. We were like, okay, we're not going to launch because dual token system. A lot of projects have failed with that. So we had to really think about it carefully. It's still so interesting for us to tap into BitTensor that I had to spend 2 months to figure out how to do this. But for me, it's quite simple. NATIX is focused on data curation, collecting data. That's the core business. And you can productize this data in several different ways. For map making, for autonomous driving, even individually in different directions. BitTensor is right now, or the subnet that we have created, subnet 72, is doing a couple of use cases right now on that data. The number one use case we deployed was roadwork extraction. We send the visual images to the subnet. They're analyzing it, telling us was there a roadwork or not. And then we extract that value. We sell it to map makers, for example. Where was the location of that roadwork? What was the imagery associated with that roadwork? So if we sell the raw data, the value accrual is to NATIX token. That means we usually have a buyback and burn mechanism. We use 45%, 50% of the revenue, dollar revenue generated. We do buyback and burn of NATIX. If the value is generated through the work of the subnet, which is either monetizing the insight on roadwork or the models that are spit out by the subnet, which is roadwork detection models, the value accrual would be towards the alpha token. So we do a similar mechanism, buyback and burn of the alpha. And the subnet needs to compensate NATIX for the data as well. So you can think of it as a spin-off of our project. This could be 2 different companies operating separately, right? There are interdependencies, but there are 2 different value accruals, and each needs to capture its own value towards the token.
Yeah, surprisingly and not surprisingly, we share the same story. Like our code base was ready about late last year already, and then our dear Lindsay knows we delayed about 4 months just because I know there's something happening about the detail, and there's no clearance at that time, right? We waited a long time until all the clearance and also some legal opinions about the detail itself, which there's a good way of the detail itself is not transferable, so technically it's not a token launch if you consider it that way. So there are ways that we actually can bypass some of the compliance issues. So that's where we decided, okay, and then we can safely go with Yuma and then launch our subnet. So and same as NATIX. So it's not a dual token system. It's more about 2 separate businesses into the same pipeline where the engineer or researchers for the data. Well, for us, it's like because we want those models to be effectively trained and run on edge, right? Which means you can't just expect every model runs a huge data on your own local phones or devices, because that's huge compute power needed. So we want to identify or research on in different topics, what's the best size of those data that can actually run efficiently and train efficiently. And that's a research bit of our subnet 96. Then we will use those data to train on edge on the models, which models can then be deployed to the use cases, which I mentioned yesterday in a workshop about the baby for the retail app, which is now out. Everyone can use it. Well, it's being promoted with our partners in hospitals, so that you can for the new coming moms, right? They can use their ultrasound scan, and then that will render, the model will render a baby's face for them if they're eager to see how their baby will look like in 10 months' time. So, and of course, it's medical data. You don't want to send them everywhere. You don't want to send them through an API, the server is sitting somewhere in SF, which you have no idea what they're going to do afterwards, right? So that's the exact use case of private AI that we're focusing on, and there will be many other retail apps, regarding companion and regarding private, regarding personal assistance. That's naturally a private AI use cases. So yeah, to us, similarly, different functionalities, but still in the same pipeline, which all powered by Flock. Thank you.
And what are, guys, risk and failure modes founders that are planning to launch subnets should be prepared for?
I think it's really important to map out every product or goal that you want to achieve on BitTensor from a very early stage. So for example, we've spent a lot of time refactoring the subnet to facilitate these different product lines that are making their way into Red Team at the moment. So for example, fingerprinting is something that we're releasing challenges on. And this is the product line that's most likely installed on everyone's phone without them knowing it on very popular apps. So this is something that we want to make sure can move directly from Red Team into the hands of users and get a good revenue from these big enterprise contracts, basically.
I would say just a few things for founders who want to build on BitTensor. First of all, before launching a subnet, go and talk with the ecosystem. I mean, Yuma has been very helpful, really helping us to get on our feet and get connected. So definitely go talk to validators, miners. There are certain things in place which we're not aware of as founders, as builders, but plugging yourself into the ecosystem is extremely important. The second thing I would say is, I think what we have done and we thought about it is value accrual towards your alpha token. If you don't have a solution for that, think a little bit harder, because at the end of the day, there is a second token that you're launching, or a token, just let it be even your first token. If you don't have the right value accrual mechanism, this is an ever inflationary system. You're just printing money, giving it to the validators and miners without value accrual, right? So even if your business is making sense, even if you're making money, if there is no way for you to capture that value towards the alpha token, then you have a broken business at the end of the day. So these are the two things that I would say the founders should definitely figure out before they're pushing deploy button.
Yeah, and well, just adding on to those, and a strong heart, because the whole BitTensor community is quite opinionated. So just make sure that you build things in a good way and communicate well with the community, right? Yuma will help, but then, well, your team will also, get to know how to communicate with this community, and it's great. It's a vivid community. Just need to understand the way of communication.
If you could go back in time, would there be anything that you would do differently?
I would talk with the validators before pushing the button, because what I didn't know, and it's true, we as founders, we have certain architectural designs that we put on the subnet, right? I want the subnet to have this kind of economy because of XYZ reasons, right? You talk with some advisors, and they all approve of it. They might reject some of it. You massage this model into the final model. What I didn't know was that when we went live, the largest validator on our subnet by stake, if they didn't agree to deploy the code, we didn't have a subnet essentially, right? So for good or for bad, this was was the bitter truth. And I had to figure out after. And I think this is not even a known fact to a lot of even BitTensor people, because I'm talking with some deep people in the ecosystem, and they're like, oh, really? That had to be, like, that was true actually for you guys? So this is what happened to us, and at the end of the day, we figured it out with the validators, or the top validator, and everything worked out. But, you know, go talk with validators, go talk with miners as well, and make sure that you have them more or less ready by the time. This would be, in my opinion, a better recipe for a successful launch.
Yeah, only thing I'd add as well is also mine. Like, get out there, visit other subnets, understand the problems that you face with those subnets, and patch it for your own. Yeah, you know, really get out there and explore what's going wrong with other subnets and how to better yours, basically.
Yeah, same. Like, so Yuma will tell you great cookbooks in a proper way, but then the community will have lots of crazy ways to actually mess up the whole cookbook. For example, like when we launched the subnet, like all the slots were sniped by I don't know who. So I was like, oh, okay, so we should actually do something beforehand. I don't know. So yeah, talk to the subnet owners, miners, like CK here. He knows everything. I should talk to you before. Yeah. So to understand how, you know, actually in the miner community what they're gonna do and how to prevent some of the malicious attacks that might happen once your subnet is live.
I think it would be useful for the audience, guys, if you could answer me, how much resources are you spending in terms of human resources internally? Like how many engineers or BD people do you have dedicated for a subnet?
I think we put 2 to 3 engineering resources, and then another 2 to 3, I would say, architect resources, which is figuring out the tokenomics, the value accrual, the, you know, different aspects of the work. But from engineering, it was 2 to 3. It took us around 4 months, I would say, to build it. But I'm gonna go back into the point that you guys mentioned. It's very useful to talk to the other founders because we essentially forked Bitmine. I was having chats with Ken, amazing guy, a legend in my opinion in computer vision and in what they're doing. So he helped us a lot to get this right. We had a lot of, like, we were banging our heads for certain use cases, and you know, these guys have been already thinking about it for 1 year. And it was so helpful when he told us also, because there are limitations on BitTensor, right? Today. There are things that people still haven't figured out, and at least talking with these other founders, they will tell you, okay, yeah, this is a problem we have had for a year, don't even go that direction. It's gonna save you guys probably weeks to months of effort to then explore that and realizing that it's a dead end.
Yeah, we're pretty close range, around 4 or 5 engineers always touching the product, and completely agree on your points. You know, there's been times in the past where we've, you know, lent on other founders who have built things like auto updaters for validators, and you know that's saved a ton of time from us developing it ourselves. But yeah, pretty close to yourself.
Yeah, like for us, because we are an AI company by default, so we have our own engineers anyways. So yeah, the resources and the tech stacks, everything just naturally migrate from their daily works to the subnet tech stack, which is good. We can keep it running in the long run.
Following up here on the limitation point, what are technical limitations and primitives in the BitTensor ecosystem that are missing today?
The one that we were facing, the way that I would describe it is, if you're solving a compute problem, which the answer, at least in computer vision, I know, so when we have to do with imageries and videos, if the problem's outcome is binary, yes or no, right? In case of Bitmine, is it a deep fake or not? In case of NATIX right now, is it a road work or not? This is a binary output. It's easy to validate it. Running it, compute, that's anyway it's gonna work. It's the same GPUs that are out there as well, but validating if these miners are doing the right thing, that gets difficult when the output is not binary. So I can give you examples of a non-binary output is, you know, is it a 50 kilometer per hour speed limit? Is it a 70? Is it a traffic sign? These are like detections, right? Normally what we're doing right now is a classifier, but there we're going towards detections, an array of answers that could be there as an output. Validation becomes very difficult. We still think it's possible, but nobody has figured it out on a sustainable way yet, as far as I know at least. So this was one of the limitations that we faced technically. I still would love to I was just chatting today with Ken, with a bunch of other people, to pool some resources and try to build an architectural design to figure this out, because I believe it's going to unlock a ton of, at least, again, computer vision applications, from medcare to you know, smart city, to mobility, to physical AI, which is robotics and autonomous driving. But still, it's work to be done.
Yeah, I mean, again, on incentives, definitely, how we're basically scoring different approaches. One interesting concept for our subnet is, you know, we really invite adversarial participants. I think BitTensor in itself, like, you know, is probably as adversarial as you could get. So anyone's trying to break the challenges, we actually welcome it, because if you can break our challenge, you could break a real detection system. But it's trying to find the balance between, okay, this person actually optimized against the detection and bypassed it versus just broke it and got through. How do we score those different minors? How do we approach that? But you know, honestly, it's just how diverse, or if you can break it, it's great. And we kind of treat it like a binary solution, you know, with some thresholds, and yeah, move away from probability like that.
Yeah, and the good thing for being a subnet owner is you know how to, you know, design the system in a way that your product will eventually need, right? So there are ways you can bypass lots of those malicious blockers on your subnet, and then to make it, you know, more clear to your final output. Like for us, it's a best data set that can be used, right, by different, well, in different use cases or in different seasons on our tasks. So yeah. For those, I think, as Ali just mentioned earlier about the value curve, right? Because for us, if there comes with retail application with, you know, income from a retail market, then those value will naturally flow back to the engineers who work on the data, work on the model, right? So that's how we make the ecosystem running.
And I have one more question, zooming out from BitTensor. Unless you have anything else to add on advice to founders, then please speak up now. And otherwise, what do you guys think, what's more significant, AI's impact on blockchain or blockchain's impact on AI?
So the foundation of building NATIX, and this has started 7-8 years ago with my co-founders, as bullshit bingo is, as it used to sound, we agreed on 3 technologies that is inevitable, and they are interconnected, and they will take over. It was IoT, AI, blockchain. I still believe that, because IoT, I mean, it's just how humans are operating in the way, because IoT is the sensing kind of layer, then you have the AI, which is the intelligence layer, and then you have the blockchain, which is the coordination layer, the trustless coordination layer. So I think they just go hand in hand, in my opinion. I don't want to say which one is bigger than which. I mean, extremely bullish on AI. It's changing the, I mean, I was just, it's super crazy, because a few days ago, during the weekend, I was with some friends, and we just built a business plan talking to ChatGPT. And if I show you guys this business plan, you will not believe it, that this was generated. Of course, we were massaging it together. So I think AI by itself is probably the biggest enabler, but I believe if blockchain is not there, it's going to be a zootopia rather than a utopia. That's how I see it, at least.
Oscar?
Yeah, I mean, looking at something like cryptography and how it can, you know, enable something like, you know, we're big researchers into zero-knowledge proofs, for example, and really the different types of data sets we can eventually collect from these users, and how to, you know, safely enable that or utilize it for various predictions without having any types of liabilities or disclosing anything the user might want, really opens up so much. And it's really just, you know, we're just on a timeline now until when that becomes commonplace. And I think you have to utilize these types of technologies to, you know, ensure privacy, enable different products through AI.
Yeah, like for us, similarly, because we want to make the model building ecosystem like open source and open to everyone. People can hop on and hop off to join the training. So there will naturally be malicious behaviors in the network, where in centralized ways there are, well, you need to have some gatekeeper always there checking all the data, checking all the submits, right? But then with blockchain, there's a natural way of the game theory mechanism that you can actually have the whole governance on chain, so you don't need to worry about, we always have to have someone in the middle. And that decentralized power actually make it a very a robust decentralized system that can actually make AI building, especially for decentralized AI in the next stage. So that's where I see blockchain to give so much power to this AI community.
Thank you. We are coming to the end of this panel, and I would definitely encourage everyone to check out Street Vision, Red Team, and Flock of Subnets. Not to shill our own bags, but they are very interesting use cases. And guys, please tell the audience how do you want to get contacted, or how they can get in touch with you.
So for us, it's quite simple. You can contribute from data point of view. If you go to our website, natix.network, if you own a Tesla, you can buy one of our devices. If you don't, you can just join with your smartphone. Whenever you're driving, you can contribute with collecting data. You can get reward. If you want to contribute to our Subnet 72 Street Vision, you can run a mining node. Again, if you go to our website, we have instructions, or you can stake and into other validators and be part of the network.
Yeah, for us, I mean, if you want to contribute and work on it, obviously we have Subnet 61, so Red Team on GitHub. We just released 2 new challenges in the past 2 days, so anyone who feels like trying to break some detection systems, go ahead. Otherwise, we have Innerworks.me if you need any security, cybersecurity, and yeah, basically our alpha token if you want exposure to the cybersecurity company that's outcompeting a bunch of conglomerates.
Yeah, all the information of ours is on our website, flock.io, easy to remember. Just, well, as I mentioned earlier, right, data, model, application. So if you're interested in working on the data side, then that's our subnet. It's called Flock Off. Well, it's a pun, sorry. It's Flock Open Federated Framework, yeah. So Subnet 96. And if you're working on the engineering side, right, trying to build models, yeah, of course, on our main platform for the model building and AI training. And eventually, if you're a business, you're trying to build some, enhance some of your business use cases where actually data can stay local with your own clients. You don't need to worry about all the compliance and GDPR-ish, but still want to train a larger model with large community, then that can be on the application side. So we welcome any kinds of reach outs. Thank you.
And if anyone wants to launch a subnet, we have Yuma team here on the ground, so please come to us or at DCG, and we can guide you. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.